On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. Caught it! Right.
Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
And that'll do it. It's over. The Golden State Warriors return to a familiar place. They're on top of the NBA world.
We're down to 2, now to 1. Here's Jordan. Yes! It's all over the Chicago Bulls.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah!
All right, here we go on a Friday, and I sound pretty awful, and I apologize for that. Good morning. I am not in the best of shape, but I'm here. And after taking yesterday off, which I needed, I'm here. How long I will be here, I don't know. I got my usual suspects, Sam Shady at 8:35, Ben Sutter at 9:05, and Chris Bass, of course, will help close out the show. Cole Johnson will not be with me this morning. He is traveling, and we want to send some prayers to Cole Johnson and make him have the best of traveling mercies as he travels for the Christmas holiday. Next week, Monday, we will be off, but Tuesday through Friday will go as scheduled, although I will say Thursday may constitute a change because of a broadcast scheduled, a basketball broadcast schedule. For most of the folks who are here with me, you may see a change in the name of the channel. I'm going to house all the programming here with Snowman Multimedia. Victor Locke is with us this morning. Good morning to you. And I know it's going to take a little bit for the others to find us, but the channel is the same. Just the name has changed, and just in the process of getting everything organized. Now, was there a football game last night? Because I sure as hell didn't see it. For some reason, the NFL depended on the New York Jets to be competitive against a red-hot team like the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good luck. I have never heard a stadium that quiet in my life. Not even Soldier Field, because even some people in Soldier, even the fans that come to Soldier Field that are apoplectic about the Chicago Bears, they make some kind of noise. They raise some kind of hell. I watched parts of that game last night before I finally fell asleep in the fourth quarter. I heard nothing. I have never heard the Meadowlands between MetLife Stadium and Giant Stadium that quiet. Even Jets fans were going, "Why are we here?" Zach Wilson got pulled for Chris Strivler, and though they can move the ball between the 20s, they could do nothing else. So the Jaguars keep their playoff hopes alive. And poor New York Jets. I mean, I realize the fact that they started strong. But doesn't it, hey, Jets fans, I got a question for you. Doesn't this remind you of 2009 when you started when you started great and then the bottom fell out? Because that's exactly what this looks like. Even given the quick turnaround, even given the fact that you lost to the surging, and I can't believe I'm going to say this sentence, surging Detroit Lions. You lost to the surging Jacksonville Jaguars. Is there enough time for the Jaguars to finish the run and get in the playoffs? We don't know. We will not know until week 17 and 18 after the new year. But I'm just talking about from a standpoint that the Jets showed no life last night. None. Evan Ingram, thankful for his first 100-yard game at MetLife Stadium. And the loss by the Jets puts the Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs. And now the Bengals are in control of their destiny when it comes to the AFC North, which still should be the AFC Central, but I'll talk about that next week. I saw the most apoplectic game I have ever seen in 45 years of watching football. And I mean that from the Jets standpoint. Now, as far as the Jaguars go, they've done something right. They have leaned on Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has grown up and grown up fast. And now he has the Jaguars on the verge of the playoffs. Let me say that again. After years of beating themselves up, the Jaguars are on the verge of making the playoffs. And if they mess around and win the AFC South, that means they get a home game, which means all of Duval County is going to blow up Alltel Stadium. And yes, I said Alltel Stadium. I don't know what it's called now, TIAA Bank Field or something like that, but I can't see otherwise. With Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars being free of Urban Meyer and actually having a competent NFL person in Doug Peterson running that team, can anybody say Philadelphia 2017? All the steps that are left for the Jaguars now is to just make the playoffs. You can grow from there. You can absolutely grow from there. But what the hell was that last night, New York Jets? I mean, I want to rip the Jets 6 ways from Sunday. And heard the Jets not only shot themselves in the foot, they blew their foot off. And it wasn't just their foot that they blew off either. I mean, they blew themselves up. Period. They blew themselves up. It's just sad to have a season with such promise. And I'm talking about the New York Jets. I'm talking about the New York Jets. To have a season with such promise. And they fritter it away. Per usual. Per usual. I wasn't high on the Jets at the beginning of the season. I know Wise was. Wise was absolutely high on the New York Jets, and he said they win 11 games. That ain't happening. I wasn't sold on the Jets at the top of the season, and I'm sure as hell not sold on them now. However, the Jacksonville Jaguars have made a believer out of me. For how long, I don't know. I do not know. But Trevor Lawrence is growing up right before our eyes. And I said he just needed the right coach. Well, he got him in a former quarterback in Doug Peterson. Now, what does that say about one team that started 2-0, lost 5 in a row, and now they seem to have righted the ship on the verge of the playoffs? Meanwhile, you have Zach Wilson. I should just end the sentence right there. Meanwhile, you have Zach Wilson, the guy who threw his entire team under the bus with a simple 2-letter word. In a game against the New England Patriots, he threw his entire team under the bus, and right then and there, the Jets should have known we're not starting him again. The only reason he started was due to an injury to Mike White. So here's if you're the New York Jets, what do you do at the quarterback position? Do you continue to lean on Zach Wilson and just hope and praise that he send him packing, as you should do, and try again and just go with Mike White and then just draft a backup? What do you do at that key position? Mike Francesa said it best. Every position is not the same. You have to have a quarterback. And right now, the Jets don't. The Jaguars do. The 49ers do. Playoff teams have a quarterback that they can trust, depend on, and lean on. The New York Jets don't. They don't have that him. I mean, you can see it. You can see the difference night and day between Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. And on a side note, can we please eliminate Thursday Night Football? I'll talk more about that when y'all get back. This is Snowman in the Morning with Flying Solo. I'll be back in a flash on Snowman Multimedia.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Have you had a chance to visit the brand new Snowman in the Morning shop yet? You haven't? Then what are you waiting for? Go to our new web address, snowmaninthemorning.com/shop. That's snowmaninthemorning.com/shop, where you can shop for all kinds of items like a coffee mug, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a book bag, and everything else that you need to have the same outfits and the same gear that the crew has. And with each purchase, you will be helping the Snow Strong initiative. We got a lot to do in a short time to get there. Go to snowmaninthemorning.com/shop and get the same stuff that the crew has. And when you do that, tell them Snowman sent you. Thanks. This is a BS3 Network presentation. Politics.
They'll write the law, but they'll enforce it differently. Is that going to apply both ways?
Religion.
God never said that we can't reason together. Matter of fact, he said, let us sit and reason together.
Relationship.
I believe that everybody wants and needs somebody.
From a man's perspective.
They say, girls, if I put some polish on that and get him to buy some different clothes, girl, he could be a winner chicken dinner.
Join the thought engineer.
There's nothing wrong with me developing my piece and you developing your piece, but understand the goal is to come together.
And comedian John Yogi.
Negro, I don't need you putting on no chapstick up there in the pulpit. You do that over there in your chair.
Get ready for
Let's Talk Monday. Woo!
Live every Monday at 7 p.m. Central.
For Steph Curry.
Tim Anderson.
Yordan Alvarez.
And it's caught. Deebo Samuel with the catch.
Michael Jordan can sense it.
The throw just got the king.
BS3 Network.
The hottest of hot takes. The coldest of cold hard facts. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Official SIT Morn is the ID that you need, and at Snowman Multimedia is the other ID you need to get all of our programming. That aberration of a game last night. I'm sorry, I can't find any other word for it. I just can't. And Zach Wilson, Victor Locke put a comment in the feedback zone when he said that Zach will have to spend the entire offseason making it up to the Jets if he wants any chance to stay. Well, Victor, I have a counter for you, and it goes like this. Hell no. The question is going to be, should Zach Wilson stay with the New York Jets? Should the Jets keep Zach Wilson? Should be the operative question. Hell nope. In a very short time, he has worn out his welcome. In a very short time, he has worn out his stay. In a very short time, he has echoed the words of the late, great Dennis Green. He is who we thought he was. Zach Wilson cannot play quarterback in the NFL. He's not good. I mean, you surround him with weapons, and this leads to kind of a LeBron argument. You surround him with weapons and he'll do fine. Well, he's got some weapons and he didn't use them. He didn't use them. Fools. Now tell me, how the hell is Zach Wilson fitting in this offense? Tell me how the hell Zach Wilson can serve the Jets going forward. Oh, that's right. He can't. At least I don't think he can. I don't think he can. Have you seen the way he's played lately? Have you seen the way he's acted lately? Have you seen his attitude lately? That should tell you everything you need to know. That should tell you every damn thing you need to know. I mean, he was the number 2 overall pick, and he sure as hell hasn't acted like it, on or off the field. What does that tell you about any and everything pertaining to Zach Wilson? What does that tell you, if anything? I mean, he got the Jets in the position last week, this past Sunday, to tie the game, at the very least tie the game and send it to overtime. And then Greg, the wide left-legged Zerline, thank you to a popular YouTuber for that, blew it. It seems this is an echo of 2010. It seems like when they get close, they blow it. Does that sound familiar, Jets fans? Every time they get close, that happens. I'll say it again. Every time they get close, every damn time, that happens. Just when you think the Jets are turning the corner, just when you think Zach Wilson is turning the corner, you get an aberration in a performance like last night, which led to a point I said earlier. There was no noise and no support last night in MetLife Stadium. None. Forget hearing a pin drop. You could hear all kinds of things dropping last night, and no one would have cared. No one would not have given 2/5 of a half of a damn. I sure as hell didn't. I wanted to see what Trevor Lawrence could conjure up, and he conjured up a win, 19-3. So it prompts the question again, what do you do with Zach Wilson? Do you keep him or do you send him packing? Do you take another year and chance it? Or do you tell him, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back anymore? Well, you all know my answer to that. You send him packing. You tell him, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back anymore. And the incident that should seal that fate, and I go back to the game against the Patriots, where they lost 10-3. Zach Wilson had 9 completions, and the Jets punted 10 times. And Zach Wilson proceeded to throw his team under the bus. By saying it's not the offense's fault. A simple 2-letter word when the question was posed. And he didn't take ownership for that loss. You big dummy. You should know better by now. But since you don't, I say the Jets should send you packing with no remorse and try again at the quarterback position. Hell, you can sign Mike White to a multi-year deal and be done. You can sign Mike White to a multi-year deal, and that will be the end of that. The Jets rally with him more than they rally with Zach Wilson. What does that tell you? Should tell you everything you need to know. So, Zach Wilson, you couldn't cut it in New York. Now they should send you to exile in Denver to be a backup. A backup to the backup to the backup. Because you obviously cannot cut it as a starting quarterback. That's Snowman's take. What's yours? To the Fanatics feedback zone, we start with the playmaker. I say yes, they can win the AFC South, talking about the Jaguars. I read this one earlier. From what I heard, the Jets not only shot themselves in the foot, they blew their foot off. Zach Wilson is dumb like dinner. Yep. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it's a fair assessment. Zach Wilson is 2022's Cade McNown. Dear God, don't ever mention that name again. The con man is here. What's up, man? Zach is done. Send him packing. His teammates do not even like him. That's the truth. But Deeds has a fair question. Who's the replacement? I'll answer that. Mike White. And he seems to think they didn't. Yes, they did. The draft. I know the draft is weak at quarterback, but what else are you going to do? You can't trust Zach Wilson to run that offense. You can't trust Zach Wilson to lead that offense. I'm sorry. I'll put my trust in Mike White before I put my trust in Zach Wilson again. And I'm not even a fan of the Jets. I'm not even a fan. But when you see the handwriting on the wall, and believe me, the handwriting is on the wall. Do you really want to go down that road again? Do you really want to go down that road again? And to me, the answer's simple. Kick him out. You got to keep him separated. You got to send him packing. And you got to figure it out somewhere. You got to figure it out another way. Which way is that? Don't know. And frankly, don't care. Don't really care. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Sam Shady is next after the break.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Have you had a chance to visit the brand new Snowman in the Morning shop yet? You haven't? Then what are you waiting for? Go to our new web address, snowmaninthemorning.com/shop. That's snowmaninthemorning.com/shop, where you can shop for all kinds of items like a coffee mug, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a book bag, and everything else that you need to have the same outfits and the same gear that the crew has. And with each purchase, you will be helping the Snow Strong initiative. We got a lot to do in a short time to get there. Go to snowmaninthemorning.com/shop and get the same stuff that the crew has. And when you do that, tell them Snowman sent you. Thanks.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Women and men. Why is it that we have this need to clash? We aggressively. Lunch break? Well, there's a do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all.
The Lunch Break with AJ, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at noon Central.
Of course, Steph Curry, Tim Anderson,
Jordan Alvarez.
And it's caught. Debo Samuel with the catch.
Michael Jordan can sense it.
the Fro just got the king.
BS3 Network.
The hottest of hot takes, the coldest of cold hard facts. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Doggone it, I keep pressing the wrong button. Official SIT Morning is the ID that you need for all of our socials. Let's go back to the Fanatics feedback zone. Mike White, a good backup, but as a starter, they didn't rally up for him. Baloney. And they will continue to rally up for him. Draft is weak at quarterback as far as starters right away. Yeah, that's the truth. And it's been weak for a while. Big Dog Shane Lake joins us from Massachusetts. The dog is in the house. Zach needs to be sent to Canada and play up there. I think he'll get the Johnny Manziel treatment. 1 or 2 plays and he's done. You can put a Chicago Bears O-line model mannequin in place of Zach Wilson and you'll still come out better. Ain't that the truth? Speaking of the Chicago Bears, and I have Sam Shady coming on in the next 120 seconds. Will they ever solve their problem at offensive line? Will they ever... Will they ever figure out the fact that they need an offensive line? Because if they don't, Justin Fields is doomed. Sorry. I said it, and I meant it. Justin Fields is doomed if they don't get an offensive line. You know? Man, the chat is lit up this morning. Mike White is the backup, pure and simple. Good spot starter, not game in and game out. Oh, no? Try it. Try it. I dare the Jets to try him as a day in and day out starter. Speaking of day in and day out starter, there is a starter that we have on Fridays that I need to bring in the right way. I thought you'd like that.
As always. Hopefully going for win number 14 this weekend.
Yes.
On the road to victory. B-A-T-L-E-S, Eagles!
And that song greets Sam Shady as he joins us right now. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Brian. How you doing?
Hopefully the Eagles do get win number 14, and I want y'all to get win number 14 for a few reasons. A, it's against the Cowgirls. B, I believe that would give y'all the division, would it not?
Yes, sir.
It would give them the NFC East. So please beat the hell out of the Cowboys.
I'm hoping. I honestly think this is going to be a test for us, though.
It is. Minshew is starting starting this week, is he not, in place of Jalen Hurts?
He is. So Jalen Hurts actually sprained his shoulder last week in a pretty brutal hit. I don't want to say it was over the top or anything. It was definitely a hard hit, but it was, clean hit. At the end of the game, he ultimately finished the whole game. And then he was evaluated after the game and told that he was ultimately going to be needing to miss some time. I personally, how do I put this? I personally would have started him this week, knowing that if we beat Dallas, we clinch the first seed and we clinch the division. Personally, I think that's a big enough risk, a big enough reward for the risk that you're bringing forth to Hurts that it was worth it. But ultimately, they aired it on the side of caution. They want Hurts there for the playoffs, so they're going to start Minshew.
And
I
you
don't
win
want
this week, you clinch the division, and as you said, you clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs, which means everybody's got to go through South Philadelphia
exactly.
to win the NFC. Not only that, you get an extra week off because only one
Exactly.
team with 7 teams in each conference making the playoffs. This time, only one team gets that extra week off, and right now, Philadelphia's sitting in the catbird seat.
Exactly. And that's personally why I think the risk is worth the reward. I mean, if you win this game, you clinch up home field, you shut down Hurts for the next 3 weeks, and then
Right.
you don't see him again until, the first week of the playoffs for us, which would be the divisional round.
Right.
So me personally, that's what I would have done. But with that being said, they have a lot of faith in Minshew. Minshew has been in this, this position before. He started a lot of games. So they're not concerned. They're not concerned. I'm not concerned either. In fact, I was in a pinch because I have Hurts on my fantasy team. So I went and picked up Minshew, and I'm completely confident that I'm still going to win this week. So
Good.
we'll see how things go.
And I really, really hope they beat the hell out of Dallas this week. Ryan McCoffey with a question for you. He's curious to know your thoughts on the NAL terminating the Columbus Lions membership.
As per usual, Ryan, you are on top of the game in the arena world. I love it, man. Literally, this happened yesterday, last night at that. So, I mean, he's definitely on top of all things going on in the arena world. Very interesting situation. From what I'm hearing, we are going to hear which league the Columbus Lions will be playing for later on today, 6 p.m. Eastern on their website. So it'll be fairly interesting to see where they end up. I talked with a minority owner yesterday, and he basically told me that he believes that they're going to end up in a league that's going to promote a little bit more ability for them to play home games, travel a little bit less, something that's a little bit more financially viable for the long-term future of the team, which makes a lot of sense, ultimately. I don't really want to get into why they left the NAL right now because that's something he told me in confidence.
Right.
But to be honest, anybody who really followed the NAL probably had an idea this was coming. I do not follow the NAL all this closely, but from everybody I've talked to, there was signs that this was possibly coming quite a while back.
With the possible return of the Arena Football League, there's a team that I'm looking at that may return there, and that's the Jacksonville Sharks. Will that happen?
Honestly, from what I've heard, and this is just purely speculation based on people I've talked to are kind of in the know about the AFL. Either they used to play there, used to coach there, et cetera, et cetera. They've said that if any team were to leave the NAL, it would probably be Jacksonville. Jacksonville is one of the few teams that is year over year very not necessarily profitable, but they're very well run. They do tend to make profit, which, believe it or not, is not a given in the indoor football world. A lot of these league owners or team owners are doing it for the passion of the game. So Jacksonville is one of the more financially viable franchises. So it would make a lot of sense. They already play, the Iron Man ball with similar rules, given the nets, the rebound action, all that stuff. So personally, any NAL team going to the AFL makes sense to a certain extent, but the legality side of it is where I'm a little bit iffy on if they're able to.
What would it take for them to go back? What would it take for them to return to the AFL? And you said 24 is when they would return? 2024?
Yes, that's what we're hearing so far.
Man, I would love to see the AFL again because I remember seeing back in the 90s, I remember seeing the Orlando Predators, the Tampa Bay Storm. Who was that Iron Man player for the Predators? Barry Wagner. I remember seeing him a lot. The Iowa Barnstormers, the Arizona Rattlers, and I'm thinking of teams off the top of my head. Sam Shady joining us here on the program. And here's a question for you. What in the absolute hell happened to the NFC South? Wasn't it a couple of years ago the South had a team sitting at 12-4 going into the playoffs, And now the top team is 6-8. That would, of course, be Tampa Bay. What's happened to the NFC South? We'll get to the AFC South in just a moment. What's happened to the NFC South?
Me personally, if I'm looking at Tampa Bay, I see a bunch of aging veterans on that roster. We see a lot of guys that left via retirement. Ali Marpet left. You also watch Rob Gronkowski retire, and now he's hinting that he might want to come back for a playoff run. Shocker there.
Shocker.
But
yeah.
It's really getting to the point where all their money spent the last couple of years to basically guarantee that first championship is kind of coming back to more or less bite them in the ass.
Yep.
For lack of a better term. And basically, I personally think that this is going to happen to most of the teams in the South because New Orleans was in a very similar situation in terms of their cap. Coming into this year, I believe they were $80 million over. They had to work all kinds of contracts and get back underneath the cap, which they did, but they weren't really able to attack free agency in the way that they needed to be really competitive in 2022. You could basically say similar things about the other two teams in the league or that division, although Carolina, I think, is basically hampered by their quarterback situation. If it's me, I plug in PJ Walker and let him rock. I think he's the best quarterback in that room, bar none. But it's just sad to see how the South has fallen.
Speaking of South, let's go to the AFC South. Can the Jaguars win that division after the performance last night? Can they win that division? Can they win out and win that division?
Absolutely. I think they can. Whether or not they do is a different story. I personally think the Titans are ultimately going to do just enough to get in. And I think I'd have to do the math again. I believe there's still a chance that we get 2 division winners that are sub 500 teams.
Yeah.
Which would, in my mind, solidify the fact that the NFL needs to find a better system for their playoff seeding.
Well, they had a better division system. You had the East, you had the Central, you had the West. Why'd they mess with it? They tinkered with it in 2001 because I remember the Bears winning the final NFC Central division. Why'd they tinker with it? Why did they mess with it? I mean, you can eliminate the South divisions, put everybody back in the East, the Central, and the West, and be done.
I would agree. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could address that. But personally, if you look back, especially over the past couple seasons, we've had quite a few teams that, in my mind, backed their way into the playoffs or got lucky. And I don't think that's what the playoffs are supposed to be about. I don't think that you should just simply get in if you're a division winner. Maybe we add a stipulation where if you're under 500 and there's a team that's over 500 in another division, power ranking wise and all that stuff, it all works out. They should go to the playoffs instead of a division winner. And I've something that I've always believed because personally, I've watched the Eagles get screwed. I've watched the Jets get screwed on this, where they were a 10-win team and they missed the playoffs. And it's not fair when you watch another team that's going in and they're 7-9 or at this case 8-9.
I mean, we saw it. I want to say 2009 with the NFC West. Seattle backed into the playoffs at 7-9. 7-9, and their game against the Rams was for the division, was for that 7th win. That just can't keep happening when you have division winners. Not only do they win the division, but they get a home playoff game if they're under 500. There's going to be a sub 500 team that gets a home playoff game. Again, I go back to 2009 with Seattle. They got a home playoff game against the defending world champions in New Orleans.
Yes, sir. 100%. I mean, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to me because honestly, there are so many different leagues that have it right. They might have only 2 divisions or 2 conferences that they base their seeding off of, but generally the best teams are in the playoffs. And I'm looking at the CFL, I'm looking at the USFL, and I know these are smaller leagues with less teams, but that doesn't mean that there's not a good compromise that the NFL can find.
Chris Dees has a very, very good point. I want your take on this. When Breece Hall was healthy, the Jets were riding high, even with Zach Wilson at quarterback. And after that injury, is when the offense tried to put the game on the quarterback. So here's my backup question. Is Brees Hall being healthy? If Brees Hall was healthy, are the Jets competing for the division?
Yes. Yes, I believe they are. He's that good. Personally,
He is.
if you watched the game last night, I believe they have a pretty solid quarterback option on their team. They just have refused to play him up to this point. Former CFL quarterback Chris Streveler. That guy is electric. He played
Yes.
well last night. I personally think if you put him in there, worst case scenario, you're going to get Zach Wilson play anyway. So why not just give him a shot at this point?
Yeah.
It's none of these other guys are cutting it. You only have a couple games left in the season. See what you got in the guy. You know, maybe you ultimately don't have to turn around and draft another quarterback, you know, in the first round in 2023.
Speaking of the CFL, I want you to fill in this blank for me. The CFL most valuable player is?
Easily Zach Collaros, in my personal opinion.
For me, it was before his injury, it was a 2-horse race, and you know who the other horse is. Zach Collaros and Nathan Rourke. But then Collaros took off after.
Exactly.
It's so unfortunate that Rourke was injured for 8 weeks because he was about to set some records that were not going to be that were like Warren Moon territory. And
100%.
I hope he has a full healthy season next year. Getting back to the NFL, and I know this is very predictive, and people have been saying that it won't happen. Let me greet the underrated Darkness, who's joined us from New York in the chat this morning. The biggest threat to the Philadelphia Eagles is
easily the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm sure that's what you were fishing for there. They scare me. I'm not going to lie. I don't care if it's Brock Purdy at quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. That offense is scary. I mean, I heard Debo went down. I haven't checked on his status. How is he doing currently?
Debo has a high ankle sprain. He will not play against the Redskins this week, but given how they beat Seattle, I don't think it matters. You can rest Debo and get him ready for January.
Exactly.
And you can keep rolling under Brock Purdy. And I've had so many people say to me, you know, there's no way the 49ers can win with Brock Purdy. Well, anybody remember Jeff Hostetler for the Giants?
Yep.
He took him to the Super Bowl and won the darn thing. Why can't
Trent
Brock Purdy
Dilfer?
do the same thing? Trent Dilfer, same thing with the with the Ravens. But should it come down to Philadelphia and San Francisco, I will tell everybody that better be the late game, and you better shut everything down because everybody's going to be glued to the television. Yes, I have a horse in the fight, but I also love what the Eagles have done. I've made no mistake. I've made no bones about that if I do have an adopted team, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. It's both of the defenses for Philadelphia and San Francisco that should scare
you. Absolutely. That could be one of the funnest defensive battles to watch this season, quite honestly. And I know both of these teams have electric offenses, but it'll be a fun game to watch.
That could be easily a 41-40 game or a 17-10 game, given how complete both of those teams are. And I read an article, and I want your thoughts on this. The executives think 2-1 that it ain't Micah Parsons who's the defensive player of the year. They think it's Nick Bosa.
I would agree. How can you deny him that award with the way that he's played over the last couple of games? I mean, I don't have the stats right in front of me, so don't quote me on this, but I believe he's got like two sacks a game for like the last 8 weeks or something like that. It's crazy.
Mean, since the Kansas City game, and I'll keep bringing up the Kansas City game because that was the barometer where the 49ers got blown to bits at Levi's Stadium, 44-23. Since then, they've won 7 in a row. They've pitched shutouts in the second half in 5 of those 7 games. And Nick Bosa now has 15.5 sacks to lead the NFL. And yet people still want to say Micah Parsons is the defensive player of the year. Why are they saying that nonsense?
Micah Parsons is a very flashy player, and that's basically what it boils down to. Fans like the flash. I think Cole said basically word for word the same thing at one point on the show, because at the end of the day, Micah Parsons is a great player. He's very versatile. He does a lot of different things, but he's also very streaky, which nobody ever seems to talk about. If you look at his statistics, he literally is like, he'll go a game, have no sacks whatsoever. Next week, he'll have 2 sacks. The week after that, no sacks. And it's like almost exactly every week, every other week, where he'll have a big game. And it's like certain teams know how to play him at this point. So you can shut him down. Philadelphia gave the blueprint on how to beat Micah Parsons. You essentially don't block him. Let him play free. Double block everybody else. Let the quarterback, who of course, has to be athletic like Jalen Hurts to make this work. But, make him read the quarterback and then make him wrong every time. And Hurts made him look wrong every single play. And it worked to perfection.
Nick Bosa has at least 1 sack in 7 out of the last 8 games. Let me read that again. Thank you to my super producer, Shane Lake. Nick Bosa has had at least 1 sack in 7 out of the last 8 games, including a 3-sack special in that stretch. And yet they're still not considering him for Defensive Player of the Year. What is wrong with this picture?
Yeah, that's slanted. Again, we've talked about it here at length. Micah Parsons is versatile. He plays linebacker. He can drop in coverage. He can rush the passer. But Nick Bosa is excellent at what he does. He's likely the best in the league at what he does. So why are you going to discount what he's doing at an elite level better than anybody else in the league to a large extent, by the way? It's not even, it's not a small gap. It's a large gap.
It is.
And,
it is.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's not even close. It's not even close. And yet they still want to tout Micah Parsons as the Defensive Player of the Year when it's clearly Nick Bosa. So I will pose to you the question that's been posed to me for the past 3 weeks. Can Brock Purdy lead the 49ers to the Super Bowl?
Yes. Yes, he can. That team is simply too complete around him. Kyle Shanahan has developed an offense that can work with any quarterback, and it will limit the mistakes from the quarterback position regardless of who's playing. We've seen so many different guys find success in his system, all the way back to like a near 40-year-old Matt Shaw. So I have all the confidence in the world in Brock Purdy to be able to run this offense with success all the way up to the Super Bowl, if that's what it takes. I mean, I know we've heard rumors that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to come back for the playoffs, and maybe he does. But either way, I fully expect it to be the 49ers representing one of the 2 NFC teams in the championship game.
I expect it. I called it at the top of the season, and you were there with me when I said Philadelphia, San Francisco for the NFC championship. And after I made that prediction, and as I said, you were riding shotgun with us when I made that prediction, people thought I was nuts. And now they're looking and they're seeing, holy cow, that just may happen, because you can't trust Dallas because they don't know how to run the football consistently. You sure as hell can't trust Minnesota. They're a bunch of frauds, especially with a negative point differential. I don't see how else it could be. It could not be Philadelphia and San Francisco for the NFC championship.
I would agree. I mean, unless something fluky happens, somebody gets hurt, something like that we haven't foreseen over the next couple weeks. But even then, Hurts is going to most likely not play until the playoffs. I would guess that's the case, unless we
I would guess that too.
So Philadelphia is most likely going to ride into the playoffs in pretty good shape, unless somebody like AJ Brown goes down, and then we might have some issues. But barring something unforeseen, I don't think we're going to see any other 2 teams in the NFC Championship game. And hey, I will say maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I do like Kyle Shanahan. He's a Denver kid, but at the same time, I don't think I'm going to be.
I don't think I'm going to be wrong either. When we made that prediction, it's Philadelphia, it's San Francisco, and I believe that's how it's going to be for the NFC Championship. One more final note from the big dog Shane Lake. Bosa had 15.5 sacks total last season. He has 15.5 now. And there's still 2 games to play. There's still three games to play.
Yeah.
How scary is that?
Yeah. He could conceivably, the way he's playing, top 20. It wouldn't shock me at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sam Shady joining us here to talk some football on this Football Friday. Thank you very much, my brother. Love you. Enjoy your Christmas holiday. Merry Christmas. We'll take it into the new year with some more football talk. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great afternoon, and I'll catch you later.
Sam Shady joining us here on the program to talk some football. Bosa has 41 tackles and 15.5 sacks. Micah Parsons has 59 tackles and 13 sacks. Flip a coin between the two. You can make arguments on both sides. Well, Dietz, I hate to tell you this, and Dietz always loves to say, and I'm going to borrow this with love. Dietz always loves to say to me, quote, "Tell me why you're wrong." Tell me why you're wrong, Dietz. And of course, you can flip a coin between the two. You absolutely can flip a coin between the two. But I just think this year, with the stretch that Nick Bosa has had, is having, especially going into Saturday afternoon at Levi Stadium, I just think it's Nick Bosa for the defensive player of the year. And I don't think it's even close. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my bias. Who knows? Who cares? I just think there's just no way you can say you can say otherwise. There's just no way you can say otherwise. Hour 2 of this Football Friday begins right about, let me see. It begins right about now.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
'Cause we take this job so serious.
All of it between 2 people and 4 nostrils. All of it was gone.
LeBron James is pure, unadulterated trash as a basketball player and has been for 20 years.
We don't want to see
that.
Wait a minute.
We
don't want to see
Stop the cap, bro. Number 420. Wise El Jefe. Number 420. I had to do it. Oh, man, I thought I missed it.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Yes, it's Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
Hour 2 thereof of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Cole Johnson is traveling this morning, so yours truly is flying solo. I got Ben Sutter coming here in about 5 minutes' time. Hoping to get Mike Debate on to do some picks. We'll do our picks at 9:15, and of course, Chris Bates will close out the show. Andre Morgan, my friend from Chicago, is now living in Arizona. Says, "I am listening. Thank you for tuning in." And then this important note: Nathan Rourke may not be available by the offseason. He's getting a ton of interest, especially he's trying out for every team in the league. I'm kind of liking that. The math don't math. 59 tackles is more than 41 by my math. Yes, you're right. 15.5 sacks is more than 13. Again, using my math, 2.5 more. So the question is, how many tackles equal sacks? I don't know how many. I just still think Nick Bosa is playing a better brand of football than Micah Parsons is. Parsons is versatile, and Parsons is a stud. Okay, he's an absolute freaking stud. He is. He's absolutely a stud. And I'm not saying otherwise. And I won't say otherwise. I will not say otherwise. Speaking of the Cowboys, Victor Locke says, and there's a reason why I do not use Pennywise's actual name. Really? What is that reason? Programming notes here. The AB Spectacular will come your way at 5 p.m. Eastern, and the Brian Snow Show will come your way at 3 p.m. Eastern. Chris Dietz will join me, and we're going to have a knockdown, drag-out argument. No, we're not. We're going to have a great talk at 3:30. We're going to talk college football playoff. Well, we're going to talk football, period, because it's Friday. It's a football Friday. We're going to take a quick pause, and when we come back, Ben Sutter will join me. And also, Not only will Ben Sutter join me, but hopefully Mike Debate will join me for some picks. And then you know what happens at the bottom of the hour. Back in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Have you had a chance to visit the brand new Snowman in the Morning shop yet? You haven't? Then what are you waiting for? Go to our new web address, snowmaninthemorning.com/shop. That's snowmaninthemorning.com/shop, where you can shop for all kinds of items like a coffee mug, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a book bag, and everything else that you need to have the same outfits and the same gear that the crew has. And with each purchase, you will be helping the Snow Strong initiative. We got a lot to do in a short time to get there. Go to snowmaninthemorning.com/shop and get the same stuff that the crew has. And when you do that, tell them Snowman sent you. Thanks.
Poppy J.
If it wasn't consensual, you gotta protect the parties. You gotta be cautious. But this is two consensual adults. There's nothing to protect.
Wise El Jefe.
Could that be? Could it be that? Could it be that he's not getting the box all the time? He's not getting that slobber knocker.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 10 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. This is a BS3 Network presentation. Politics.
They'll write the law, but they'll enforce it differently. Is that going to apply both ways?
Religion.
God never said that we can't reason together. Matter of fact, he said, let us sit and reason together.
Relationship.
I believe that everybody wants and needs somebody.
From a man's perspective.
They say, girls, if I put some polish on that and get him to buy some different clothes, girl, he could be a winner chicken dinner.
Join the thought engineer.
There's nothing wrong with me developing my piece and you developing your piece, but understand the goal is to come together.
And comedian John Yogi.
Negro, I don't need you putting on no chapstick up there in the pulpit. You do that over there in your chair.
Get ready for
Let's Talk Monday.
Live every Monday at 7 p.m. Central.
Steph Curry, Tim Anderson, Jordan Alvarez.
And it's caught! Debo Samuel with the catch.
Michael Jordan consents.
The Fro just got the king.
BS3 Network.
The hottest of hot takes. The coldest of cold hard facts. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Official SIT Morning is the ID that you need, and everything is now housed inside. I thought I pushed the right button. Everything is now housed inside of Snowman Multimedia, and so is this guy. Ben Sutter is joining me here this morning to talk some Cowboy Eagle football, and it's rivalry week. It's the Cowboys. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. The NFC East hangs in the balance. And when I say it hangs in the balance, I mean just that, because if there's an opportunity for the Cowboys to get back into the division race, it's this week with Jalen Hurts being out.
Yeah. It's obviously it's rivalry week. NFC East, we always battle each other and play each other.
the hardest. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I am a little disappointed though that Hurts is not playing. And now, obviously, game time decision, but I want the Eagles to be at their best. I want us to be at our best. But
Yeah.
if it ends up coming into that, and this is still a win that we need, regardless if Hurts is playing or not.
Yeah, considering the last couple of games for Dallas against Houston and against Jacksonville, not going the Cowboys' way, and that's just being honest. We look at last week, 27-10, the Cowboys led in the third quarter, and somehow you woke up a sleeping giant by the name of Trevor Lawrence, and he brought him all the way back, got him the lead. You took the lead back, they tied it, and then you know what happened at the end of it.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is this team as a whole for the past 20 years can't seem to just keep their foot on another team's neck and ride it out to a win. We want to allow the team back into the game. We want to lose our game plan. And we've said this so many times. Dak is not meant to throw the ball 40 times a game. Hell, 30 times a game, maybe.
Thank you.
Just run the
Thank
ball.
you.
You know that works. And there's, I don't want to blame it all on Dak, but there's wide receivers that are not catching the ball, which makes a difference. But we just seem to can't finish games. And if you want to be any type of postseason team, you got to finish games. I don't care what it is you need to figure out how you need to do it. But if you can't finish games, you're not winning anything. And I think that's what most Cowboys fans have to realize. If you want to be delusional or not, you got to realize that if this team can't finish games, then they're not winning anything this season or any season.
Does it seem like the last few years the Cowboys backed their way into the playoffs instead of like charging in, winning games the way they're supposed to?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what they're doing this year. I mean,
because they lost to Jacksonville and they wound up backing into the playoffs again.
Right. They got in because of what happened between the Giants and the Commanders. That's the reason why they got in. You should not, for me, if you want to be considered a real team, you control your own destiny. Exactly. You don't wait and see what happens with somebody else. And that's a part of this team. And, I think some of it has to do with the coaching staff too. I mean, there's blame to point everywhere.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they need to figure out how to finish games and how to win games, because that's what's going to be decided. When you're in the playoffs, there is going to be some knockdown, drag out games. There is going to be some games where Dak may have to throw the ball more. If you look at that KC and Bills game last year, they were just throwing the ball everywhere. It was really
throwing the ball. There was 1,000 yards of offense before they even got to overtime.
Right. And so you may be in a situation like that. So this is a team that for me is too rocky. I'm not gonna say we're gonna go on a run. I didn't say that at the beginning of the season. I'm not saying it now. You are too rocky of a team. You have to prove it, not just to me, but to the fan base.
Because the fan base during the Jimmy Johnson era, and I point back to that era where Jimmy Johnson single-handedly built that dynasty, and it was a dynasty before Jerry Jones opened his mouth and canned Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
Before Jerry Jones opened his mouth and canned Jimmy Johnson, because Jimmy knew what he was doing. He knew he built that from the offensive line out.
Yeah.
And y'all and people, Cowboy fans, you got to remember, Moose was there before Emmett arrived. The offensive line was being put in place before Moose arrived.
Yep.
That's how you build your team. You build it from the offensive line out.
Right.
And they haven't done it.
And they've had to kind of piecemeal this thing together. Now they got Tyler Smith. Tyron Smith is back. The line should be fine because of the pieces that they have, the past and the present pieces. Terrence Steele, he's out for the rest of the year. But I think they've done the best they could with the line this year. The defense and the bigger point is the defense has really carried this team. Micah doing his thing, the D line, that secondary. Now this upcoming game, I think one of the big question marks is one of the corners that we've had issues with. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but he may or may not be playing. He's not necessarily. I don't think he's one of the best corners on this team. I just think he ended up being the guy that they had to give the opportunity to. That's Calvin Joseph. There's been plenty of times he's either gotten burnt, plenty of times he seems out of sorts. So they're going to have to figure that part out. And I agree with you, Andre. The Cowboys won't make it past the second round. With this exact team right now and the way they played against Jacksonville, they won't make it they won't win a game, period. If that's the way that we're going to play in key games like this.
And I go back to the wild card game last year in Dallas when all the Cowboys Nation, the delusional part of Cowboy Nation, was so hell-bent on thinking we're just going to run over San Francisco and be done with it, when they didn't realize that the best running team in the NFL was coming to your house in January.
Yep, the best running team and the worst
run
defending the run team. I mean, it was really a perfect. It couldn't have been any perfect for the 49ers, and it couldn't be any more worse than us. And we can't seem to get out of our own way. Clock management, can't seem to figure out how to run a play at the end of the game. Again, finishing games. That is going to be the demise of this team, and it has been the demise of this team.
The last two games, you had to come on. You had to come back against Houston and stop them on a 4th and goal.
Right.
And then the pick 6 against Jacksonville. You keep saying it. You've said it all year from the top of the season to now. You've said it every single week. The Cowboys' biggest problem has been, follow the bouncing ball, finishing games.
Yeah.
And if the last two don't prove your point, then I don't know what Cowboy fans are seeing.
Right. And that's the thing. We continue to say the same things, but are they practicing these situations? Because I'm never not nervous at the end of a game when it's close. I'm sure a lot of Cowboys fans would say the same thing. You're on the edge of your seat because you don't know. Is Dak going to throw a pick?
Right.
Is he going to fumble? Or is this team going to just figure out a way to lose a game when all you really had to do last week is run the clock out? And they couldn't seem to do that. I mean, that's NFL football 101.
You forced a turnover.
Exactly. You got lucky too.
Jacksonville was on their way to scoring what would turn out to be the game-winning touchdown.
Right.
And you took the ball away.
Right.
And yet 3 plays later, you're giving the ball back to them.
Yeah. And like our guy King Doc said, they got lucky because if Sunshine didn't make that extra move, if Trevor Lawrence didn't make that extra move and he just would have fell down, that drive would have continued. But
yes,
he's definitely a competitor, and he took that extra move, and we capitalized on it. At the end of the day, we lost the game, and that's they're listening to Michael Irvin too much. There's a lot right there. Yeah, I'm finally. Normally, I'm on the road, so you guys don't see my face, but I'm at home today, so I got time. To stick around too.
And that's because of Pennywise abandoning the run. How many times have we seen that with the Cowboys just in the past 25 years?
Yeah,
abandoning the run. Think of some of the beyond Emmitt Smith and beyond Darryl Johnston. Think of some of the backfields that the Cowboys have had over these last few years, and they still depended on the quarterback to throw the ball 50 times.
Yep. That year they had DeMarco Murray, and they went. What was that? I think they went 12-4 or something that year.
12-4.
Didn't win that year either. I mean, it's just.
And there was 2007. 2007, they were the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
they were the number 1 seed, and they lost to the Giants.
Yeah,
because they gave up on the run after going up 17-7.
Yeah,
they went up 17-7, and then they abandoned the run, and the Giants ran back into the game and ran past them.
Yeah, they have the worst when I'm ahead game plan on earth. The absolute worst. You don't know what to do. At this point, you guys have been coaching. Everybody on the staff has been coaching for at least 3 or 4 years. Kellen Moore is probably the youngest. You gotta take it to the next level, or else you will never win anything. This will always be a let's do it this year, let's do it next year. And Herm Edwards had a quote on, I think he was on Stephen A. This week or something, but he said out of 15 playoff games, they're 4-11. And any realistic Cowboy fans should not come on and not on I say out of their mouths at all that this is the year. They're 4-11. That is the worst record of a team that is always in the news, always in the NFC hunt, but they're 4-11. So I'm just gonna be real. I'm gonna be real about it like I always been. And I don't believe this team will go on any type of run. At this point, I don't think they'll win any playoff game because when you get with a team, if they end up playing Tampa Bay, Tom Brady is old now. He is Grandpa Tommy, is what I call him now. But he's still Tom Brady.
He's still Tom Brady.
And if you give him an opportunity, he will pick you apart like he's done to us numerous times. So
Herm Edwards said it best.
You play to win the game.
And if you don't realize it, say it again, Herm.
You play to win the game.
Okay. That, of course, when he was a coach of the Jets. Oh, man. Ben Souther joining us here on the program to talk Cowboys and Eagles. The line is Cowboys by 6. Dallas -6 with an over-under of 46.5. But there's a possibility of the mustache Gardner Minshew getting the start on Christmas Eve. I don't even want to fathom how much of a death blow that would be. We're going to do some picks, but Ben, thank you so much for joining us here, as always, on a Friday. We'll talk to you next week, brother. We love you. Thank you so much.
Yep, definitely. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
Ben Sutter joining us here on the program. All right. What do you say we do some picks? We got Chris Base coming at the bottom of the hour. Our spreads are going to be coming courtesy of Caesars Sportsbook. Now I'm going to get all the games up here. But again, I started this program with how much of a lack of noise there was in the Meadowlands. Victor has a great question. What can we do to get better? Well, first of all, your management needs to change. I said it, and I meant it. Your management needs to change. Your management needs to change, period. I'll stop there. All right. What do you say? What do you say we do some? What do you say we do some picks, y'all? Let's do some picks. And most of these games are Christmas Eve. Start with the Bills and the Bears. Bills 11-3, Bears 3-11. Bills are favored by 8. And Bills are favored by 8 on the road at Soldier Field. You may as well double it. I am going with the Bills to seal up the division. Lions and Panthers also 1 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Detroit's favored by 2.5 in the battle of the Cats. I don't trust the Panthers, and I don't think Jay Spivey will either. I'm going with the Lions, and I'm going to lay the points. I'm going to lay the 3.5 points. The big one on Christmas Eve, 4:05, Redskins and 49ers. 49ers favored by 6.5. I'm taking the 49ers, the NFC West champs, and I'm going to lay them all. Let's see your picks in the chat. Bill Stomp Chicago says Big Dog. Big Dog's taking the Panthers over the Lions. I don't know. I just have this feeling the Lions are going to show up. Saints and Browns in Cleveland in front of Brownie the Elf. Cleveland's favored by 3 at home after beating Baltimore. I'm not even going to pick that game. Texans and Titans 7-7. Texans 1-12-1. Tennessee favored by 3. Only 3. They're only favored by 3 at home. I should tell you everything you need to know about that game. I'll go ahead and make a pick with the Saints and the Browns, and I'm gonna go ahead and say the Saints. Because Cleveland has the same problem that Dallas does, not being able to close out games, even though they did close out Baltimore. I'll trust the Titans, and this will probably be the last time I trust the Titans. Chiefs and Seahawks, 1 p.m. kickoff. Kansas City favored by 10. You may as well make it 20. The Seattle playoff push is done. The Seattle playoff push is done. And I'm going with the Chiefs. Giants and Vikings from Minnesota. Minnesota favored by 4 at US Bank Stadium. Who cares? I'm calling an upset, and I'm going with the Giants because the Vikings, to me, are frauds. The Vikings are absolute frauds when you have to wipe out a 33-point deficit to win a game. The hell with that. I'm going with the Giants because the Vikings can't do it 2 weeks in a row. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. Bengals and Patriots, 1 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Bengals 10-4, Patriots 7-7. The Bengals will put the Patriots out of their misery. I'm going with the Bengals. Bengals favored by 3. I'm going to lay the points. And on most of these, I'm going to lay the points. Falcons and Ravens. The Ravens better get Lamar Jackson back quick because they have a problem at the quarterback position. Although I'm going to go with the Ravens here at home. And Baltimore's favored by 6.5. They're laying 6.5. I'm going to take the points because for some stupid reason, the Falcons make games competitive they have no business to make competitive. Anybody remember what they did to my 49ers and beat them by 14? I'm going to take the points. And Big Dog says, even though I'm a Pats fan, the Bengals finish us off. Desperation matters? Not in this case. The Bengals are going to beat up the Patriots, and I say the Ravens beat the Falcons. You know this one, 425, Eagles and Cowboys. NFC East title hangs in the balance. Dallas favored by 4.5. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'm going with the Eagles, and I'm going to lay the points. 8:15 on Christmas Eve. You have the Raiders and the Steelers. The Raiders and the Steelers. Which 6-8 team gets their 7th win of the year? Pittsburgh favored by 2.5 at Heinz Field. And after the look that I saw last week, screw it. I'm going with the Raiders. Now, our Christmas Day games start in Miami. Miami favored by 3.5 over Green Bay. And the Packers are done. The Packers are finished. They will not beat the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins will get it done, and they'll put the Packers out of their misery. Now, why this next game, Broncos and Rams, is a Christmas Day game, I don't know. That's a lump of coal, man. Couldn't you move that? Couldn't y'all flex that back to Christmas Eve? Or, I don't know. Both of these teams are done. I'm voting for a tie. I don't care what the spread is. I don't care what the result is. I'm going for a tie. I want a tie in that game. Then you have the Buccaneers and the Cardinals. Buccaneers with a chance to with a chance to solidify their lead in the NFC South. The Cardinals are a dumpster fire. 2.5-point spread between the Bucs and the Cardinals. Tampa Bay favored by 2.5. You may as well double it. I'm going with the Buccaneers, and I'm going to lay the points. And then the day after Christmas, and I can't believe this schedule. I can't believe this game. The Chargers and the Colts. The San Diego Chargers and the Indianapolis Colts. The day after Christmas. Yikes. The Chargers are favored by 4.5 points. 4.5 points is the spread in this game. I'm cautious because just when it seems like, and there are quite a few games like this on the schedule for this Christmas week, just when it seems like the Chargers are in a position to blow a team out, you get this kind of game. I don't know what the hell is going to happen here. It's at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we're going through a bit of a cold snap here. I'll read the feedback zone in just a moment. Okay. Here you go. Here's my pick for Monday Night Football. But I just have this feeling that the Chargers are going to win that game. I just have this feeling the Chargers are going to win that game in Indianapolis and further solidify their position in the playoff picture. So officially, I'm going to go with the Chargers, but I'm going to take the points. And Nick Foles will start at quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts on Monday night because Jeff Saturday and the Colts have finally had enough of one Matt Ryan. Those are your picks. Our spreads are brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, and they're also brought to you by Monkey Knife Fight. Go to monkeyknifefight.com, use the code Snowman, and get $100 100% deposit on up to $100 on your first deposit on your initial deposit. Let's go to the Fanatics feedback zone while we await the arrival of one Chris Bates. Everybody was making their picks. I saw an upset. I saw an upset. Chris Dietz is picking New England. Nope, they're done. New England's done. And they're gonna get finished off. Ravens may take this one. Ravens win, but only by 3. I can see that. Desperation matters, yeah, to a few teams. Eagles win, but it's in overtime. I believe that. Heart says Dallas. Brain says Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles. Pittsburgh wins, but it goes to overtime. I don't trust that. I don't know why. I don't know why I don't trust that. I just don't. Eagles win with points on the boys. So Andre's going to lay the points. Okay. Raiders. Victor Locke's picking the Raiders. Fins up, says Victor Locke, with the Dolphins and the Packers. Shane Lake says Green Bay over Miami. No. And I agree with this next statement. Packers are done. In terms of the Broncos and the Rams, scoreless tie. Can we have a scoreless tie? Can we have a scoreless tie in that game? Broncos and Rams is the lump of coal. Dietz is picking Pittsburgh. Tomlin keeps his losing record streak going for another week. I don't think so. Patriots are going to beat the Bengals. No, they're not. Rod West says, good morning, Snowman. Patriots are going to beat the Bengals. No, they're not. The Bengals are going to obliterate the Patriots and put the Patriots out of their misery. Shane says, give me LA over Denver. Can we just end the season for the Rams? Can we just end the season for both of those teams and not have them play a 17? Can we just do that? I mean, who wants to see the Rams and the Broncos play football, let alone play each other? Ryan McCarthy again. Broncos Rams is the lump of coal the NFL is giving the USA on Christmas Day. On Christmas Day. Why? Just plain why? TB12 smacks Arizona around. I can see it. But you know something about that game? The stupidest thing could happen in that game. I fully expect Tampa Bay to obliterate Arizona. I do. I'm going to voice this. Could that game end in a tie? I know I shouldn't be voicing blasphemous statements like that. I really shouldn't. But could that game end in a tie? Just a question. Victor Lodge picking the Bucks. I can't believe I have to deal with Broncos versus Rams on my birthday. And happy early birthday and Merry Christmas to you, Victor. What the hell? Broncos and Rams on Christmas Day. I'm not watching any football on Christmas Day. I'm not watching that game especially. Patriots going to beat Bengals. No, they're not. I've already read that one. The NBA gave us a better Christmas Day schedule than the NFL. I doubt that. I doubt that very, very seriously. Dietz is going with the Chargers, as am I. Especially Colts playing with a new quarterback, and you know that as Nick Foles. And here comes Rod with his hearsay. Of course. A couple more comments here. Foles is back, but Chargers are in the playoffs. I believe it. It's 9:28 a.m., Rod. I have a Snickers if you're hungry. JJ Watt owes Brady payback. Hawk TV in the house with us says, give me the Cardinals. Thank you, Snowman. Going to be hanging with my mom anyway. Good. Don't watch that game. Don't watch that frivolity of a game. I sure as hell am not. But I am going to do this. Let's close out the week in style. Time for me to push this button.
Don't soil this program by putting crap on it. Joe Buck, I cannot take him. I just no dice. I'm glad Carlos Boozer finally took the kiwi off his face. It should be on your shoes, not your face. It's kiwi shoe polish, for God's sake. LeBron should come clean about his age. I wish baby Jesus that I had alcohol in this container, because I need some after watching Screaming Nate Smith.
Baby Jesus? Really?
6 pounds, 7 ounces. Go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Bass will be in the air.
He certainly is in the air. And he is here. The one, the only Chris Bass to close out our week the way only Chris Bass can. Good morning, my friend. Great to talk to you.
Good morning, Rain Man. How you doing? When you said style, I looked over both shoulders when you said that. It says there's no way in the world that's going to happen. It's just, I love you more, but God damn it, it's just, I'm sorry. It's just not going to end in style. It will probably end, obviously, because you have a time limit. Yeah, but time like everybody else, we have a beginning and time when we end our programs. But to end in style, me, hell no.
Yes, you. Yes, you.
God. But thank you for the kind words. Of course, good morning to you, Rayman, and also good morning to our brothers. Going back to, of course, Cole Johnson, the mad scientist, and Wise All, and everybody in the comment section. Happy festive boom shakalaka to all.
When I read your post, which was answered by he who shall not be named, and now I really
did he? Because I was looking out for. I was going to cuss him out. I didn't see him respond. Let's see. Let me check real quick. That's a good thing.
Because I think it was another post I read where he commented that.
Oh, the other post, right? I said it was the day before, right? The day before
I got that wrong. But when you mentioned the story, the one that has me cracking up every time you tell that story.
Oh, the Salt Bastard?
Yes, that
one. Okay. So let everybody in on the situation. I've been doing a holiday show. In fact, Brian, you were there for the very first one that I did at PSI Radio, all those old Lodos many years ago. And it goes back to when I was a mere youth. So I'm a mere youth. I said before, when you live in the Midwest, I live in Chicago, snow like we have now and bitter temperatures is just it's very cruel. And it hurts your bones. Your ancestors cry out for help. That's how much it gets too cold. So I'm like 9 or 10 years old, and I'm shoveling the walk in the porch at my house, and then the air gets to my nether regions. I go use the bathroom, so I go run into the house, and you had to put down rock salt so you didn't want somebody to slip and fall, the ice and everything else.
Right.
Then I come back out after making a new nation. I come back out, and the salt is gone. I had like a gallon tub of rock salt, and somebody stole it. So to me, I'm like, whoever stole this is a salt bastard. Because how can you, in theory, call yourself a thief? Well, I'm not condoning thievery. I never have, never will.
Right.
But do you know how low you have to be and silly and stupid to steal? Don't get me wrong. People say some people steal stuff. If you nail it down, they'll steal it. So apparently, whoever this person is stole my rock salt, and it didn't make any sense because, again, that's like all the rock salt we had at the time. So, so we had to go back to the store, get some more, come back, but just the inconvenience. And the fact that the same person, I don't know if he or she or it is still alive or not, it's still the fact that you stole rock salt. How can you call yourself a thief by stealing rock salt? It is the damnedest of shame. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, not only for stealing, but for stealing rock salt. I mean, how can you put it on your resume? Don't get me wrong, not condoning thievery.
Right.
People steal cars, jewelry, money. No, your dummy ass steals rock salt.
And then you coupled it with, if your ass is locked up and you're in the pen and you're among your thieving brethren, and you're comparing notes. Like, what did you steal, man? I stole a Mercedes. What did you steal? I stole some jewelry. And then they come to you. What did you steal? I stole some rock salt.
Look, they're gonna rape you anyway. You will be raped on site immediately. Just for making that statement.
and you can't say it aloud. Well, you're gonna have to say it aloud because they're coming to you and they're asking you, what got you in here?
Yeah.
Why are you in this place?
What you in for, right?
Right. They're asking you what are you in for, and then you have to admit aloud that you stole rock salt.
Well, if they're in jail, then you can't tell me there's no God. So good.
Exactly.
Yeah, good they're imprisoned. But it turned into an ongoing bit in my head. So when we got the PSI radio, and I was putting together my show for Baseline, I always wanted to do a Christmas show. Everybody I worked with,
yes,
when I was a producer in radio, I always do a Christmas show, obviously. So I want to have my own content and my own style and everything else to do that. And thanks to Bill Burton, right to this day at PSI Radio, the owner, gave me an opportunity to create the Chris-based Salt Bastard Holiday Party year one. And that meant a lot to me. And then Brian was there, as you know. Good times. We were fed well. And not only that, another thing I copied from some of the people I worked with, some of my people that I worked with when they were hosts of me producing, they would drink on the air. Whatever alcoholic beverage they got, they go for broke. Where's the holiday season, for God's sake?
We had a fridge full of liquor that afternoon.
Yes.
We had a fridge full of liquor that afternoon. We had all the food was laid out.
Yes, it was.
The fridge was stocked. Okay. And I see Bass with his mug on the air, and I already know what's in it. I don't even have to ask what's in it. It wasn't eggnog. It sure as hell wasn't coffee, and it wasn't soda. There was liquor in that mug. I already knew it was in there.
That was a lot of fun. and the test I had was to see how drunk I could get in the 2-hour show that I had. And so I was still able to keep my words and congregate and everything else. So that worked out great. It was a lot of fun, especially when our co-workers was giving me different drinks every other drink. So like, what is this? This is a fuzzy navel. Well, it's not my fuzzy navel. My navel ain't fuzzy. I go on and drink it anyway. And so we had that. Sex on the beach. Not actually, but the drink. And it had the drink, and then we had tequila sunrises outside of the beer that I was having. And it was a great time had by all. I think you and others have to realize that for me, that was huge.
Yes.
That was big. And I can never have done it without all of you being there to participate and be a part of it. So I could continually thank you all for being a part of it. And right to this day, I continue on in some version of it online as we do it today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I wanted to hurry up and get done with my show just so we can get to the Salt Bastard Holiday Party, so we can get to Baseline. And Bill came to me and said, "Why'd you end your show like that?" Look, it's Chris Bass, and it's the Salt Bastard Holiday Party. And he started smiling. He goes, "Oh yeah." I'm like, I wanted to end a few minutes early, give proper time to Bass, so he can have the entire 120 minutes, and our asses can eat and drink in this place.
Fun had by all. Same today.
Yes.
For those, I invite everybody in the comment section, everybody here, please, if you have time, come on by. Of course, that's on Facebook Live. So again, it's not Baseline. It's the Chris Bass Salt Bastard Holiday Party, a time-honored tradition. That's at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Pacific time. I hope you get a chance to show up. Bring your favorite food, your favorite drink. We're going to have a good time.
Yes. And here's your official introduction. Bronze God, reformer of hoes, transported Hades.
And thank you, Ryan. Happy holidays to Ryan and everybody else in the comment section, to Victor and everybody else. The big dog I saw in there as well earlier.
Shane Lake is in here.
Thank you, all of you, so much. And I get if you're not too busy, if you're somewhere at home or somewhere else and you have a scratch and you say in between scratch, you know what? I want to go have a good time. So if you have time to come by, please do, and everybody's welcome.
Yes. And I just go back to that afternoon, and what did Victor Locke say? It's going to be 2011 all over again with the holiday party. Because at that day, every piece of food they could think of within like a 5-mile radius, they brought into the studio.
Was that the year we did it? That's the year I did the show. Was 20, what year was that? When
No, that
back
was
at PSI?
2006.
That's what I thought. Okay, see, my mind is all jumbled up.
That was now yours and mine both.
Yeah,
that was 2006. We did that.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We did that holiday party, but we were partying like it was 1999 in that place that day.
If you have food and drink and people, you're gonna party no matter what damn year it is.
Yes,
you're gonna enjoy yourself. That was the cool thing about it. Having family there, obviously, and then having my radio family at the time from PSI Radio. It was just I couldn't have crafted a better situation as a broadcaster to bring that show to life. And once again, I could never have done it without everybody involved. It was just very extremely humbling.
I took some of that liquor home. I took some of the food. I took like a couple plates home, and I took some of that liquor home.
Of course.
The only point was me being a grown ass man. I'm sneaking liquor and food into my parents' house. My dad didn't care. Okay, dad was cool. Okay, dad showed me a secret spot in the fridge. Like, hide this and make sure your mother doesn't get to it, or make sure your mother doesn't see it, doesn't see the food. Son of a bitch, if she didn't. Because mothers have this knack of finding stuff they got no business finding. And I had 2 full plates. One was full of sweets and the other was full of food. I come downstairs the next day and I'm ready to tear into both of those plates. And my mother is sitting by the refrigerator with a look on her face. And she says, "You have some explaining to do." And I'm going, "What? What now?" Reaches into the refrigerator and pulls out both those plates. Like, you want to tell me where this came from? Oh, damn.
Well, that's kind of messed up. I mean, shoot. I mean, if I was walking in with food, I'm like, "Hey, y'all want some?" Y'all can have some. I mean, it's not a problem. But for me, with the alcohol and stuff, see, coming up in the era where you watch your dad and other guys, it just seemed cool to drink. I'm not once again not promoting alcoholism.
Right.
I'm talking about it was just a cool thing. My dad smoked and other people smoked. I didn't like smoking cigarettes. It wasn't my thing. But it was something to do. You drank and you smoked. It just went along with it.
Right.
That was the culture.
Right.
If you go back, for example, and watch, say, the old episodes of The Tonight Show in the early years, Johnny Carson is smoking.
Yes.
Has the ashtray on the desk. Or he might have behind, under the desk, take a few puffs and put underneath the desk and everything. So that was the culture back then. So my point is, when I started to drink, I knew I was going to drink it. I want to drink beer. Beer just looked like it was a cool drink for me. So I started to drink Old English 800. It's a malt liquor. And back in the day, you call it 8-ball. And so you get the 40 ounces. It's like, the late 80s, 90s.
Yes.
When I was in college, or even before college, I was drinking in high school. So you get the 40 ounce of 8-ball and you go to work.
Yeah.
And so I have a high tolerance for getting inebriated. So I could drink people on the table. I remember I got to college. And so you know how you finish the semester and the class wants to go out and, drink and everything else.
Yes.
And so the guys be drinking, I don't know, say Coors.
Right.
Something like that. Man, this is good. I said, well, give me one of them pitchers of Coors. A pitcher? Yeah, give me a pitcher of Coors, man. So, because if you drink Old English 800, a malt liquor, everything else is Kool-Aid.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So we would have these bets. Oh, dude, you can't drink all this Coors. Coors, this is like country time lemonade to me in comparison to what I drink on the regular. So how much you want to drink? Man, I drank Coors and Old Style, which is very light to me. It's a very light beer to me. But once again, depending on your tolerance, what you like as a beverage. I think the most I ever won in a drinking contest in college was like $550.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like you said, with the Old English 800, everything else is Kool-Aid compared to that.
Old English 800 starts cars.
Yes.
If you had a 40 ounce in your ride and your ride broke down because you had no gas in it, take out the 40, put in the gas tank. I bet you a dime to a donut, you get to the gas station.
Yes. Actually, I've actually seen that happen, and I was involved in an incident where that happened. Someone had an OE in the back of the car. Had to get to the gas station. Pull drops in. We got to the gas station on 112th Street, 111th Street rather. We got to the gas station, but I had my first OE before I went away to Missouri. Before I went away to Northeast Missouri State, and they had a drinking contest there. They see me 6 feet 5 inches, 240 pounds. Like, look, we know you could put something down, but can you put this down? And they bring in a case. They bring in a case of Coors. And I said, okay, let me see how many I could put down. That whole damn case went down. Now, it hit me the next day when I tried to go back to my dorm. And they wonder, how did you drink all of that? Listen, I had my first 2 Old English 800s before I left. And I'm from Chicago. Anybody that's familiar with Old English 800 knows you can compete with that. Well, anybody who's had that knows that's the rest is Kool-Aid compared to that.
Well, we tried, like while I hang out with my friends, we would try to, if for example, rarely would Old English be out of stock. Very rare.
Right.
Because it's a very popular beer. But every now and again, it would be out of stock. So what's your next go-to? So we would try like Colt 45s. It wasn't another malt liquor. Dickies was a nice malt liquor. The little glass that looks like, kegs with the big tub, big mouth, on it when you take the tab off. So that was cool. And then also you had I didn't like St. Ides because I remember Ice Cube, of course, this is when he was with NWA, they always talked about OD, and then when he went solo and he signed a contract to promote St. Ides. As a matter of fact, you go back and watch the movie Boys in the Hood, everybody else is drinking 40 ounces of OD. He's drinking St. Ides because St. Ides is giving ends, as you said. So there you go. So I tried. It wasn't really my thing, but oldie was always the go-to. And then so now we're talking about our drinking past. So let's see. So we had that, and then we drank this malt liquor that was kind of sweet called Golden Champagne. And we had that, and it wasn't Golden Showers. That don't everybody nasty. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a beverage called Golden Champagne.
And I remember Golden Champagne.
Golden Champagne. It was like Golden Champagne, Pink Champagne, and Extra Dry. Yes. Nobody touched Extra Dry. Extra Dry like the redheaded stepchild. Nobody wanted to go near extra dry. But everybody else, the other ones, with the Golden Champagne and the Pink Champagne, you were good to go. So that
you said the Extra Dry was the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, nobody want to go near it. It's like, damn, I don't want to go damn Extra Dry.
Why would you want to go near something that's called Extra Dry?
We know certain wines and certain beverages are dry, like champagne, something like that. So maybe people like that type of style. Me, I can't. It's once again not just dry, extra
dry.
I can't. I can't.
Extra dry.
Man, I remember when wine coolers first started. So wine cooler became a thing, and wine coolers started with the first one we were drinking was California Cooler. That was the first one. And then after that, it was one called Bartles and James.
Oh boy,
wine coolers, and then Seagram's. It kind of like in that order.
Yeah.
So I would either get those three, but I remember California Coolers started to fade out, and Seagram's had a big hit because when Bruce Willis was popular, he was the pitch man for Seagram's, Golden Wine Cooler. That gave him a good national pitch. So I remember one time I had some wine coolers in my refrigerator, and so I know that like 2 were missing. I'm like, wait, who in this house drank 2 of my wine coolers? So my dad was like, just like hours, it was the next day probably.
Yes.
What's them thing called? Them bottles you got in there? What they called again? The Seagram's Golden Wine Coolers? Yeah, I had 2 of those. That's pretty good. No, I was cool with it because it's something that him and I bond over because I just liked the fact he liked something that I liked. Because you got to understand something. My dad, God rest his soul, was a very strict individual. And so I remember one time, let's see, I was in high school. And so I had posters of, various groups of the day. So my dad comes in and he sees a picture because I had a culture club on my wall. He said, "What the F is this?" And I said, "That's Culture Club." What the F is a Culture Club? Because he's confused, and rightfully so. He don't know what the hell's going on. So I told him that's the group I'm listening to. Then he points to Boy George. What the hell is that? And I said, "That's Boy George, lead singer." What the hell is the Boy George? So I explained to him he's lead singer of the group.
Yes.
So then I guess he figured, look, okay, let me try to bomb this boy because maybe he ain't right. Maybe I check with the doctor. So let me try to bomb this boy. So he said, well, what's that Princess you listening to? It's Prince, Dad. Yeah, him. Put him on. Let's take a listen to him. So I put on I had the Purple Rain album, probably one of the best albums I ever had.
One of the greatest.
Purchased.
One of the greatest.
It's the only album for me, I like every song. That's rare on any situation. So I had the record, put it on, and it was When Doves Cry, the long version, like 6 minutes and some change. So
yes,
I'm playing it for him, sitting next to him. You know how it starts off, dig if you will, the picture of you.
Yes.
And my dad's like, oh. And so like he's having convulsions, like he's going to have a stroke.
Right.
Listening to these lyrics. I'm like, I want to be strokey and stroke out. I'm like, no, I'll finish it up. And so he listened to the whole thing. This is what it sounds. You know, I mean, he's really having a fit. So after everything is played out, I said, well, Dad, what do you think? Okay. I don't really like the song, but Prince is a musician. And that was cool. That was cool with me.
Right.
You can't get more fear than that coming out of my father. So that was all right there. But man, to watch him go through that agony of Prince and When Doves Cry, man, I wouldn't be responsible for my dad having a stroke. Who wants down their conscience? Your father had a stroke. How did it happen? He was listening to Purple Rain.
How did Bugs Bunny put it? Oh, agony.
Right.
To the Boy George story, Ryan McCarthy says, surprise Mr. Bass didn't ask, do you really want to hurt me?
Look, I don't have to quote that lyric from that song because my dad was already hurt.
Yes.
Just by walking the room and asking these questions of a Culture Club and what the hell is a Boy George?
It's Boy George.
Yeah.
Well, from the drinking story, Victor Less says, I can't drink old style. That's too much of a Cubs drink. He's right.
Way to go, Sammy. Yeah, that's from Wrigley Field.
Or as I like to say, Raggedy Field.
Man, that old style, I don't know how, but once again, it's your tolerance level. Because again, I'm at the ballpark with my cousin Alan, and we're having hot dogs and beer. It's a really good experience. When you're out, as you know firsthand, to be out at a sporting event in real time is really a great experience. It really is.
Yes.
And
yes,
so it's better than obviously watching on TV. It's better than somebody trying to tell you stuff. Like, obviously, just being in the environment. So I don't knock that. But it's the people going back to that. Like I tell you, there was like 4 or 5 drunks like 2 rows behind us. Everybody by the 4th inning, everybody was Sammy Sosa. Everybody. Amazing. They were playing Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
Up to bat, number 23, David Justice. Way to go, Sammy! Hit it out of the park, Sammy! I mean, it was my
the
God,
one
man.
Cub game I went to. I was with an ex at that time. We were playing. The Cubs were playing the Montreal Expos, and of course, we had a suite because I worked for Ticketmaster at the time. We had a suite, and I swear, right below us, we had those same fans you were talking about. It doesn't matter who came. Now batting number 33, Larry Walker. Way to go, Sammy! And they're drunk off their ass. They're Harry Carey drunk, and Harry drank on the air.
I liked Harry. I had no problem with Harry because he's again this down the road when Harry became like a caricature, and that happens sometimes through marketing and stuff like that. But still, to me, one of the greatest baseball storytellers and just amazing skill sets when he was doing it. So, but again, look, if somebody gives you like free beer for the rest of your life, I ain't gonna knock him.
No, because anybody who watched Cub games on WGN knows that when the game started, when the broadcast started, the pitcher was full. By the time he was leading up to the 10th inning, which was the post-game show, it was empty. And he probably went through a second one.
Seven inning stretch was classic. You look forward to it because he's already hammered by that point. Okay, let me hear you. A 1, a 2. Be out to the ball. I mean, he skipped like 3 and then went right into the song.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's a drunk at a Cub game. Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. Because like I said, the one Cub game I went to against the Montreal Expos, everybody was drunk. I stayed in the suite because it was hot that night we went. I stayed in the suite with the food and the beer, and my ex comes up to me and says, "Aren't you going to come out and watch the game?" No, because I don't feel like sweating and I don't feel like getting bit the hell up because mosquitoes were all over the place.
Oh,
nope.
Man.
No, thank you. Listen, at a baseball game, you're always going to, especially during the summer, you're going to risk mosquitoes. I know that. But for some reason, when I go to Comiskey Park, it wasn't that big of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Wrigley Field, please. I mean, there were some blood-sucking mosquitoes.
Now,
at Raggedy Field.
Well, again, going to the holiday season, I just remember there was a time I did play Santa Claus. So I was back at the radio station, and the afternoon drive people at the time were 2 people, Ro Khan and Gary Meyer. And they were going to make an appearance, I believe, at Country Club Hills golfing tournament. And they were going to do a remote there. And they asked me when I played Santa. They both paid me, and they paid for the suit. Now, you want to lose weight, put on a Santa suit. That thing is hot.
Been there.
That thing is hot, man. It's hot, doctor. So I got dressed, and let's see. So I figured I didn't want to waste any time, so I dressed in the suit before I left. So I drove in the suit to Country Club Hills because I had to be active between noon and 2 p.m. and the show started at 2 o'clock. Then I'll be interactive in between the show. So I get there, and I start. They had the gifts me to pass out and pass out gifts and everything else. And the people were already drunk at noon. They were lit. So now, mind you, I have on the glasses and the hat and the hair and the beard's up to here, so you can't really tell my ethnicity unless you really get up close. It shouldn't matter, but here's my point. So this one lady was hammered, and she was like, "Santa's, it's good to see you." I was like, "Well, Merry Christmas to you." Are you black? And I was like, "Shush, lady, be quiet. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." Then she gave me her card. I was like, "I want you to give me a secret present. And here's my card, here's my name and everything else. And so could you come by after you finish here?" I don't have time for this. Merry Christmas, everybody. So, I had to play it off. And so all these people were drunk. So I go take a break, and I get in the section because everybody was getting ready for the show. And I sit across, and this guy, it's kind of like darkly lit. So this guy says to me across me, "Are you all right, Santa?" I said, "Hell no, I'm not all right." Just got hit on by this old chick, she's got to be like pushing 70. Asked me, was I black? And she wants me to give it a high hard one after I leave here. So I'm not really feeling good at all. Everybody's drunk. So he was like, "Man, well, sorry to hear that, Santa. You're the first Santa I've seen all year." I said, "Wait a minute, I recognize that voice." I leaned in, Brian, it was actor R. Lee Emery.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Man, I don't faint, but I almost fainted. Because this is Full Metal Jacket we're talking about here, man. So I got up, shook his hand. I said, "Man, that is really cool, man," and everything else. So he's like, I was like, "I'm sorry you feel bad, Santa." I said, "Well, can you do me a favor? I'll feel better after this. If you can at least recite one of your lines from Full Metal Jacket and just let me have it, That would make my day. Are you sure? Like, yeah, okay. So the lady handed him his drill sergeant hat. So he puts the hat on, and I can't repeat the words because he was really cussing me out. It was a good cuss out. So anyway, I'll just say this and then just change the words. I will rip off your head and skull you. I was like, yes, I needed that. Good man. I'm sorry he's gone. He was just a very approachable, good man, and just a fantastic actor.
Ryan McCarthy says, wow, she really wanted to get on the nice list or the naughty list.
She wanted to get on the Ryan, it was the naughty, nasty list. Because she was like, can I sit on your lap, Santa? No.
No.
Merry Christmas, everybody. No.
And you wanted to give her the hell nope, you can't sit on my lap.
Man, it was goddamn ridiculous. I mean, it really was.
I bet it was.
Man.
Oh, geez.
After meeting Mr. Emery, and we talked for a little bit, and I got a chance to go out there with a renewed spirit, I felt much better. You never know who you run into to make you feel good.
True.
And I was asking him about Full Metal Jacket. As a matter of fact, he told me the following. I said, how'd you get the role? He told me that he was a consultant first for Stanley Kubrick.
What?
He was not in the movie. They tried other actors, and it just wasn't working out. So the director, Stanley Kubrick, said, well, tell you what, we'll do some tests with you. And that's how he got the role.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Serendipity. There you go. Well, here's one from Victor. She wanted to get on the ooh-wee list.
Doctor.
No.
I'm not revisiting history first. I believe in revisionist history. Now, has she looked good to me?
Yes.
I would have probably become backdoor Santa had I gotten to her house. That's just me. But she has some mileage on her, and I felt like I didn't want to take advantage of that because, again, if I did something to her, she'll have a heart attack, have a dirt nap, and then you see me on the news with the Santa Claus suit on, with my pants down, my arms behind my back, being arrested, doing the Santa perp walk. Santa murders Country Club Hills Society woman. Film at 10.
News at 10. You know what? That would also have been acting like breaking news. Also, they broke in with that.
I don't want to perpetuate the black man stereotype.
No.
I don't want to do that. So no, no. But seriously, had she looked good, I probably would have thought about that seriously. But no, she was just, once again, just a lot of miles, a lot of miles. So yeah, but man, she was inebriated by the time I walked in. You can smell the breath of gin as soon as you hit the door.
And would she lean up? First question she leans up and says, "Are you black?"
Yes, yeah. The first thing was copacetic. I'm passing out gifts to the children and saying and taking pictures and everything else. Merry Christmas, Santa. Are you black? Yeah. She did get happy after she found out I was black.
I won't have to ask how happy if she's offering you a card and saying, "Can you come see me later?"
Brian is the damnedest of shame.
That's Chris Bass. That's a boom shakalaka for this Friday. And man, always a pleasure. Always fun. Thank you, brother. We love you. Thank you so much. We'll do it again next week. Thank you.
We'll do it again next week. Thank you so much. And real quick, anybody out there, if you're not doing anything, come by the Saul Bastard Holiday Party. Again, that's on Facebook Live, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific time. You have some time, come back. And we'll do the show where everybody's going to have some fun. If you have time, I'll see you then if I see you first.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I love you, brother. Thank you so much.
Love you, brother. Take care. Don't soil this program by putting crap on it. Joe Buck, I cannot take him. I just, no dice. I'm glad Carlos Loser finally took the kiwi off his face. It should be on your shoes, not your face. It's kiwi shoe polish, for God's sake. LeBron should come clean about his age. I wish baby Jesus that I had alcohol in this container because I need some after watching Screaming A. Smith.
Baby Jesus, really?
6 pounds, 7 ounces. Go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Bass will be in the air.
One more visit to the feedback zone before before we get out of here. Victor says, I can't drink dry wine. I tried it once and it was like swallowing air. Ryan McCarthy, way to go, salt bastard. I know I had this one up earlier. Everyone is drunk at Cub games. Yeah, that's the truth. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, burnt the sumbitch when I got done with it. Oh, Jesus. And wouldn't you know? And in honor of Chris, and in honor of Chris Bass, I didn't get a chance to play any of these earlier. We were flying through the show, but in honor of Chris Bass, close with this.
So I realized that I think, even though it's not advertised,
right,
there has to be a place for stupid people. We don't know because we're not stupid, so we don't know anything about it. It's like a secret club society.
Oh my gosh.
So I come to the conclusion that he graduated from SU, stupid university. Yeah, and all the stupid ass letters that go along with graduating high honors of being stupid. I can't do no more, man.
Vámonos, dominos, vámonos. Stupid university, where everyone graduates. Magna cum stupid.
And speaking of Chris Bass, I know I said I'd close with that, but we're actually going to close with this.
Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson is brought to you by Penis Water for the ebbs and flows of life. Trust Penis 15 Water.
Why does that have me cracking up every time either Cole or myself plays that? All right, we're getting out of here. Have a great weekend. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move, and always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. And as far as the NBA schedule this weekend goes,
LeBron James is trash.
And that's that. Merry Christmas, everybody. See you Monday.
Thank you for tuning in to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold, hard facts.
And do me a favor, behave yourselves. Merry Christmas, y'all. See you Monday.